Angelina, I want to ask you something. The movie feels very contemporary. The United States bombs a country to submission. Then a radical group moves in, commits atrocities. And then you go and try to help them out. This, sadly, that has been repeated in other countries. How do you feel as an American, knowing that the results were the policies of your own government?
Well, I've been working in the field and doing my best to help and connect for over 14 years. So it's not just this administration, it's been many administrations. So I don't see it as I see it as, when you say as an American, I am as American. As American, what it means to be American to me. And the best of what it is to be American to me is to be someone who is aware of, we are in fact the melting pot. We are supposed to be appreciative, open to all races, all religions, all peoples, and embrace that unity, embrace that coming together, and to be, we hope, what I was raised to believe is that we are one of the countries that try to spread that in the world, spread some form of what we believe, human rights, decency, democracy. That's what we're supposed to do. I see myself as an internationalist. I don't see myself only as an American, even though I'm proud to be American. I'm an internationalist. My family are people from, little beautiful people from around the world, and that's how we represent ourselves. And I raise my children to respect all people of all countries, and not just respect, but celebrate them and want to learn about them and appreciate diversity and the strength in our diversity. So I hope that I can do my best to try to speak on these issues, but I see over the years, I've seen the refugee numbers grow. I've seen people displaced become displaced again. I've seen aid numbers drop. I've seen the food that, we fought 14 years, we're fighting for food aid percentages to go up. I've seen them drop. I've seen, I've seen it get worse and worse and worse. And I've seen less diplomacy. I've seen less solutions. I see that people know more. We see so much on TV. We couldn't be more aware of everything that is happening in Syria. We couldn't be more aware of everything that is happening in Yemen. We all know. It is not like when the war was in Cambodia and we would get some pieces of news and something. We know, and still we hardly act at all. We do next to nothing to really solve and really help these people who are suffering so much.
But is humanitarian activism sufficient without political activism?
No. Humanitarian activism will never, ever. It cannot, and it cannot be expected to take the place of this lack of diplomacy and lack of political activism. It then just becomes aid relief constantly going into an empty hole. If you do not have solutions, if the politicians do not make the right choices, if we do not have diplomats getting in and trying to find and solve and move and change, it's just an endless cycle, and it will never ever be enough. It will never be enough.
Now the conflict in Syria shifted from Syria itself to outside superpowers who are running the show there. You've been active for years now. You're the first one who highlighted the suffering of the Syrian people. How does that impact your work there?
I don't know if it hasn't always been, or at least for the last few years, been superpowers playing. I don't think that's new.
But now they are actively there.
Now they are actively there. I'm not sure how much.
Fighting.
They are actively there.
The Syrians are talked to. They say they lost control. It's now in the hands of outsiders.
I just wonder how much those outsiders were always having a hand in the last few years, and now is it completely out of control? All I can say is I've been to Syria. I've met Syrian people. I've watched these people suffer so much, but that's not what people should be thinking about. Syrian people are really very educated, rich culture, smart, strong, good people. And if they are given the support, they will be able to help their country. And they are not masses of refugees who are needing from all these people and draining people. They are strong, capable, good people. And they need the world to see them that way, and see them not as a burden, but see them as a blessing, and know that Syria as a country, the strength, Syria being a strong, forward-moving country, is benefit to the whole region and to the whole world. And we have to, and the more it breaks apart, and the more it's fought over, and the more it separates, also Iraq, everywhere, the entire region, it will affect all of us. And I think something to the film where you say, what happens in Cambodia? What happens in Cambodia? Yes, would it have been possible if we did not have what was happening in Vietnam? You know, all of these things do affect each other, and the decisions made today will affect 10 years, 20 years. It will. There will be other wars that will, even if it settles now, how it settles will either, you know, will surface. It will surface one way or the other, and either we will build relationships, or we will be setting ourselves up for new wars and more displacement.
Do you see hope for it, for the end of that conflict? Is it worse now than when you started?
Well, the average stay in a refugee camp is about 16 years. So I think for me, when I see a little girl cross into Jordan from Syria 4 years ago, I know the reality of how long she may be displaced. I know there's a good chance that that little girl is going to grow up and be in her 20s before she comes back to Syria again. So I know that in my heart. It's hard to be able to see her hopeful face and that she just believes that she's going to be able to be helped by the international community and then go home. And I know her reality. Years ago, we would be able to focus on practical solutions for people. Now, I think everybody is in a state of emergency and just trying to give as much relief or aid just to keep some people alive. But nobody is able to do enough. No one. And we can't do enough without political solutions, diplomatic solutions. We can't.
Thanks.
So sorry, turned into Syria, but it's very important that you do that. So.